How are we going, everyone? Well, this is our garlic bed here. I hope you can all hear me well and hope you're having a good morning so far if you're watching as we've just uploaded. Now, I've already dug out some of the garlic, and the backstory to this is last spring, summertime, we had tomatoes growing here, Costa Ludo. Two of those, we had eggplant. I think we had a capsicum in here as well. Well, I think that's the end of it there. And some other plants. But then, once I finished, I let it rest. I actually put a little bit of a topsoil on it. That's our planting mix, mulched it, and just let it sit for a while and realised, I don't know when it was, weeks, months later, I had some garlic to plant still, which I forgot to plant. Now that was planted, this garlic here in particular, was planted in August around August the 20th. So at about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, it had already fallen over. So what I'm talking about here is this garlic here, see how it's yellowed off and it's fallen down? That's typical of a garlic. This is soft neck. So they've collapsed and they are wilted and they're ready to be dug up. So once they fall over, they actually store a bit more energy in the bulb. But think about the date. We said August 20th. When's garlic season normally? Most people plant from April all the way till June. Their garlic, so they have a good 6 months, even longer sometimes before the hot weather hits, so they don't produce that scape for the bulb to form underneath. I gave mine 3 months, if that, to be honest with you. So in 3 months, there's two little bunches. They're not the biggest garlic, folks. I mean, in 3 months, don't expect much. Two little bunches, some not too bad. You can see there. We've harvested another 3 like this. Bunches already, so not bad for a late season. I'm not bragging about garlic, just telling you, look, this is what's happened in 3 months. Has anybody else planted that late in the season? I've never done that before, but I gave it a go. So let's pull the rest of these up. Now you can't pull a garlic up, especially a soft neck like this, because their roots in the ground are super hard. So I just use a little garden tool and just tap the soil off like that. And just go around each one and get them all out. Here's another one over here. Now I dug some about, I don't know, 3 or 4 days ago, just over here. What I want to talk about is how the soil can start to dry out and the carbon starts to escape. This was broken open. So as you're lifting the bulb up, the soil breaks away. You can see that the clumps have come out. We had a bulb in here, we had another bulb in there. Now this left exposed like this starts to dry out, and you don't want that to happen. So garlic is great for aerating, like all tuberous plants like potatoes and sweet potatoes and carrots. They all do wonderfully well in aerating the soil, but once you do dig them up, you don't want to leave it broken up and exposed like that in little clumps. It'll die off, meaning all the life on that little nugget, little meteorite, will all start to die off because it'll overheat, dehydrate. So you want to press it back down, but just gently push it back down like that, all the way around, and obviously get your mulch back over the top until you're ready to get your next planting. All right, let's just finish all this off. And let's get the garden bed ready for the next planting. Now this bed here, I'm going to do a top up, and I'm trying a different method this time. I'm not using our planting mix. I'm going to use our compost. Just looking for any more garlic here. That one just sprouted up. Look how fresh that is. Or is that a grass? No, it's garlic. Is it garlic? It's garlic. It's not going to last long now anyway. So what I'm doing here is, rather than filling it up like I normally do with the three-way, the triple mix, which is basically compost and cocoa and planting on top in straw. What I'm going to do instead here is I'm going to just put compost and cocoa together over the top, but this time I've actually mixed 2 bags of cocoa to 1 bag of compost. And with that extra cocoa mixed into it, I'm getting more porosity out of it. You can see, look at that, it's just really friable. But don't think it's going to stay like that forever. This will start to break down as well. So folks, I'm giving you the most basic of opportunities as far as, you know, making a mix your own and saving a couple of bucks, because at the end of the day, you know, all the inputs start to add up. So if you're making your own compost, that's fantastic. But from my experience, compost, when it starts to go, well, it starts to break down and activate, over time it'll go hard. It won't be brittle like this and pliable. It'll actually crust over on the surface. Hence why I like mixing the cocoa like this. Now I've gone 1 extra, so I've got it even more coarse than usual. So it's really loose. You could almost say this is probably one of the better body mixes you'll ever find. Not that I've made it like a potting mix, but it feels like it'll be perfect for that as well. Let me show you another bed that I've done this, and have a look at the quality of the soil after a good harvest. So we've got lettuce here that's gone to seed. They were magnificent, folks. Look how long they are. They're about 1 metre long and they're flowering at the top there. So I'm going to crack those heads back down into the ground and put them in. But look, in the meantime, I planted one of our eggplants here. Now this is one of those that I cut and took a cutting off and grafted, and I've put the rootstock or the base of it into the ground. Now when I dug a hole in here, you can see the bed's sunken really down, and normally you would say, okay, there's less soil in there, sort of depth in it, so in the hot days it'll start to dry out quite quickly. Now it's been warm the last 3-4 days. We've had mid-20s, quite warm today, a little bit cooler than usual. So this really hasn't been watered, and if it was yesterday, and it's damp as. But what I love about this garden bed, I'm trying to find a spot to dig for you. I'll do it over here. Oop, did I break something? No. So I'm just going to dig this section here. Look how loose that is. But this is our compost and cocoa mix underneath here, folks. Look at it, it turns into Play-Doh. That is just your humus building up. You've got so much moisture in there, caught in there, and it's not clay. We're not talking about clay here. I didn't put any clay in here. All it is compost, cocoa, our planting mix with all our amendments added into it. I'll dig on this side, just come on this side, because this side was a little bit more firm than the other side, and I was just having a lot of fun pulling up all the life in the ground. Love it, look at that. Just breaks away worms everywhere. And it's just so rich. The worms are creating tunnels, so keeping the porosity through it. We've got all the different textures in there, all the carbon that's going to become a food source for the microbes as it starts to decompose. Obviously the worms are doing their job, and we've got our amendments in there as well. So that is the simplest way to do it. Compost and dry matter like straw, mulch, even wood chips if you have, leaf matter as well. So you can do it on the cheap and still have a wonderful success. Obviously some amendments added to it, like our superfood and blackroot, will really boost the life and the vitality in your soil. A couple of handfuls of superfood over the top, like this. And then the same with blackroot. This is all I do at the moment, folks, nothing more. You can use the liquid feeds to water it in if you like, or just plain water. And now we're going to throw this mixture over the top. So the thing about top dressing here now, what I'm doing this time is not building it up 100 mil, 200 mil. I'm giving it a light top dress, more than a handful, but not enough to really plant into it and say you're going to grow a new plant like a tomato in this mixture here. It's actually going to work its way through down to the soil below, because it is magnificent already. All we're doing is just giving it another little boost of fresh life and food. That's it. Now just a light water over the top, and then we'll add our mulch on top of that as well. Another tip for you folks, when you're putting your mulch on top, in the past you've seen me activate it by soaking it in our liquid fertilisers that we have. Well, if you don't want to do that or don't have the time and patience, that's fine. At least get yourself a bale of straw that's activated, meaning it's actually aging. Now, our straw has been kept in storage for a long time, but I've brought it outside. We've had a little bit of moisture go through it, and you can see how it's starting to hydrate in the middle and start to decompose. So that's activating. And if you see little white sort of fluff on it like mold, well, that is fungi. That's the mycelium activating, and that's the first thing you'll see when the carbon starts to break down, or the food source that you're putting into the garden. So if you're going to buy some straw, you want it to be activated, and get it local, folks. Honestly, I've told you this before, no matter where you live, there's going to be a farm somewhere nearby, an hour or so, maybe less, stock feed farm places. Get yourself some fresh, locally grown straw, because that stuff there isn't treated for any problems like insects and crossing borders and things like that, and diseases. So when it's locally grown, rest assured it's going to be good for you, and it's going to activate a lot quicker too. So that's what I'm doing here, using our local straw. That's breaking down. Look at all that. Now, if you see that in your straw, don't think, oh my God, it's bad, it's gone moldy, it's not going to work. It's fine. Just add some water to it and watch it take off. It's just going to break down real quick and mat over the top. So I'm preparing my garden for spring planting. I know it's bloody summertime, folks. Better late than never. We'll get a few plants in here while we still finish the hothouse, Hopefully you've planted your garden and share some of your photos and successes. If you've got any problems, happy to help as well. Check out our website, vasilisgarden.com. Shop online, support our garden range that we have to get your garden growing, and that helps us keep producing this content for you to enjoy every day. From me, Vasily, Maresi.